Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers and a first run look at the new Brooks Glycerin 21. Now this is an easy day and daily trainer that Brooks says promises supreme softness and ultimate comfort, particularly designed for longer runs. Changes from the last generation include a bigger midsole stack and some new knitted uppers. So how was it on our first run outings? Well, watch on for our first impressions of the Brooks Glycerin 21. First up, some quick details then, and the Glycerin 21 packs 28mm in the heel, 18mm in the forefoot for a 10mm drop. When it comes to weight, it tips the scales at 10 ounces or 285 grams in my UK men's 8.5 test shoe. That's slightly lighter than something like a Ghost Max. Price-wise, it will set you back £165 in the UK and $160 in the US. So let's give you a quick shoe whip round then, starting with that midsole. Now the big change here from the Glycerin 20 is a larger midsole stack. There's now 2 extra millimetres of nitrogen-infused DNA Loft V3 foam cushioning here. That's there to add more softness and protection. There's a nice broad platform here, and that's aiming to provide stability and reliable landings and also smooth transitions. Now up top, the uppers have been streamlined with a new engineered warp knit upper in a bid to improve the fit, comfort and security. That's quite thick, quite dense, but nice and flexible. There's plenty of good flex here across the top of the toe box. The heel collars here are really highly padded and plush, as are the big thick tongues that you've got. Now even the laces are nicely padded. This is definitely shooting for that kind of comfort plush feel overall. Flip them over and you've got a strategic outsole rubber. This kind of road track rubber is made from a mixture of rubber and recycled silica. That's there to provide the grip and to protect that exposed midsole foam. The Glycerin 21 also comes in GTS stability designs, and there's a stealth fit option, which is a bit more of a snug, racy fit. But we tested the regular Glycerin 21. Fit then, and I ran in my regular UK shoe size, which is an 8.5, and I found the fit pretty snug. I'd say nicely cocooned, that's how I describe it. As you might expect from a big plush shoe, that's what you're going to get. There's a bit of flex in the toe box thanks to the way that the uppers move. Everything stayed roughly where it should with good heel hold. There was decent pinch-free midfoot lockdown. Padded tongues help with that, and there's no troubling hotspots from my run. Overall, I mean, it was snug without being restrictive, and yeah, I just felt there was good sort of volume in the toe box. So overall, I think unless you've got particularly long or wide feet, I think you could recommend going true to size in these. I haven't tried the stealth knit fit though, so maybe that, if you want something a little bit more snug or a bit more racy, then maybe that will help there too. But otherwise, yeah, I would recommend going true to size in these shoes. So for this first run test, I've actually done 2 runs. I did one steady 5 miler at a slower than my marathon pace, but still pushing hard enough to see if this is a shoe that can move up through the gears. I also did one 7.5 mile very slow plod on very tired, beaten up legs. Now the combination of the knitted uppers and the plush padding I think make for great step-in comfort from the off with this shoe. There's a sort of hugging and held feel that you get when you first put them on. Some might find it a little snug, but I found there was enough wiggle room in the toe box thanks to these kind of flexible knitted uppers that makes it sort of feel, it's nice and snug but sort of roomy enough. Now as you'll get with all the shoes in this kind of high cushion plush comfort cruising bracket, there's a lot of shoe on the foot here with this, but I think the Glycerin 21 manages to ride lighter than you think it might when you first look at it. Once you're moving, the ride feels pretty well balanced. It's soft but not too soft. There's a good bit of resilience in that DNA Loft V3 foam. It takes the edge off your initial impact, but it doesn't take long to compress and then fully return. So overall, I think the ride is really nicely cushioned, but not overly squishy, which is something that I like. Now that's maybe helped a little by the thick rubber outsole that you've got here. That perhaps stiffens things up a smidge. But on these early miles, I like the fact that you've got good cushion comfort without veering into being too dull and ponderous. Now that meant I could quite happily tick along at 7-minute mile pace on that steady 5 mile run. And I'd also say that it's protective with pretty smooth transitions and a ride that doesn't feel too leggy overall. Now, despite the wide midsole platform, I actually found on my really tired 7.5 miler, where I was properly hanging, make no bones, I've done a few too many miles recently for my marathon training. That was where I found a little bit of wobble in the midsole actually. I didn't feel as stable as in some shoes I've tested recently, and that's something I'm keen to test further out in our full review when I get some more miles in it. Just a little bit of wobbling when I had kind of ragged form. Now, another thing to note, I ploughed through some pretty wet and slippy cobbles on my 7 miler, and the grip from that substantial rubber I thought was excellent. It's nearly nice and reliable with the landings. It looks like it'll be plenty durable too. Verdict then, I think this is my first time running in a Glycerin, and being 100% honest, I didn't think this would be a shoe for me. I don't tend to go for the big padded shoes. In general, I prefer something that's a little less shoe on the foot. But after those initial miles, I've been quite pleasantly surprised by this shoe. As an easy, low and slow shoe, I think the Glycerin 21 offers most of what you need. Great comfort on the foot, good cushion landings, and decent protection for your feet, even into the sort of longer time on feet, that hour and a half that I did, without feeling overly soft and sinky. It's a shoe I'd only really lace up for my longer, slower plods, but if that's what you're after, I think this does that really well. Right now, I think I'd probably pick the Saucony Ride 17 or the On Cloud Eclipse over the shoe, based on those early runs that I've done, because they're a little snappier and a little bit livelier. I might shoot for the Ghost Max 2 for the all-out comfort on long, slow plods as well. But I'll save that final judgment for when I've done more miles in this and we bring you the full review. As it stands, I think Brooks has a solid cushion daily trainer here. So there you have it. That's been our first look at the Brooks Glycerin 21. I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you did. Subscribe too if you fancy hearing when new content arrives on the channel. If you're looking for Glycerin alternatives, I'm going to pop 2 videos up on the channel just about now that you should watch for sure. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure to talk to you about this shoe. Thanks as ever for watching. We hope to see you again soon on the Run Testers. Happy running, everyone.